The problem in Kenya and the problem within the political class is mistrust.
Yeah.
That is the problem. There is nothing wrong. That is why we complain. If whatever set of individuals you bring, people will complain about them, because in truth, individuals want to have appointed into the IEBC those whom they think they can manipulate. And if they don't think they can manipulate them, then they accuse them of all manner of ills. And my view is, let us go through the process and have these individuals subjected to scrutiny in Parliament. The problem is that we also have a Parliament that is subject to scrutiny. So you never know whether they are animated by the desire to look for good people, or they are animated by ethnicity and political convenience. And it is tragic in our country. The very fact that we doubt these processes, the very fact that we even print ballot papers outside of the country, is an indictment of who we are. And once again, and I say this ad nauseum, we have had a crop of politicians. They were in politics when I was at the university. I'm now past official retirement age. They are still telling me that they are the ones who bear the vision of the nation. Until this crop of politicians are consigned to the Museum of History alongside the spinning wheel, this country will not make the strides that it needs to make economically, politically, or otherwise. Because they are the ones who remind us we are Luos. They are the ones who remind us we are Luhyas, Mulembenesh. They are the ones who remind us we are from the mountain. They are the ones who remind us we are Somalis. They are the ones who remind us we are Mijikenda. How can you build a nation in the 21st century where the primordial instincts of ethnicity are the things that govern decision making? And that is how you look at IEBC. You look at the composition of IEBC, there are only 6 of them. Somebody say, but there is no Borana. There is no Kamba. Now, do we do an IEBC where every tribe is represented? I want all of you to read Koigi Wawamwere's book, Toward Genocide in Kenya, The Curse of Negative Ethnicity. And Koigi, to his credit, says effectively what I'm saying, that our problem in questioning every activity, including composition of public institutions, is informed by our ethnic inclination, as reminded always by our ethnic kingpins.
How do we save ourselves from that? Okay.
Right.
Sorry, I had to ask a question.
Yes.
How do we save ourselves from that? Just going with this IEBC, on this show, when the selection panel was about to start its work, we interviewed the chair of the selection panel. And when they started, we kept saying that it's upon all of us as Kenyans to actually watch what they're doing. That to hold them accountable, we had to look at the names that they're publishing as shortlisted candidates. We look at them, we look at how they're performing at the interviews, and let's come up with our own way of saying we can sense that this process is sober. That has not happened. Now we sit back here and we're listening to the kingpins, as you call them, when they say this is right, this is wrong, and we are likely to be swayed by what the politicians are going to say. How do we fix this of ourselves ahead of the next election?
You know, Latif, when I hear somebody says, because somebody knows somebody, if you are good to be appointed into the IEBC or any public body, you must have built a profile over time. You must have met people. You must have met individuals in high places. So the mere fact that I know the president, or that the president knows me, or that somebody is a cousin, is not a basis for disqualification. I want to hear that the individual who has been nominated is an individual who has an irredeemable criminal past, or is an irredeemable corrupt individual. The fact that he's known to this and that, to me, is not an issue. My view is these individuals should be subjected to the process that is prescribed in the Constitution, and once they take the oath of office, they should now recognize that they have a higher duty and that they are not beholden to the appointing authority.
But you and I know, PLO, that the water has already been muddied. They will go through a vetting by Parliament, but questions will remain. And as we head closer and closer to 2027, those questions will keep coming back.
Of course.
That, this person was picked up, was picked by Ruto, and there was Raila involved, and so and so. He's from Turkana. The person who sits in Turkana as the deputy chief of staff in the presidency is a Turkana former governor. Those issues will come up.
Latif, do we want the UN to manage our elections? Because what Kenyans are here, Kenyans saying, that we have lost faith in ourselves completely. That we now want our elections to be managed either by the AU or the East African community or the UN. That is effectively what we are saying, that we have lost faith in anybody who is Kenyan, and we want the international community to conduct elections for us. If that is what we want, then let us say it, because whichever set of individuals you appoint, there will be an argument one way or the other. So let us make the decision. You politicians who are there, let us today, if we Kenyans are saying, particularly you, the political class, you are saying that we have no faith in ourselves, let us ask the UN to conduct elections on behalf of Kenyans so that we don't complain. Because at this rate, there'll be nobody capable of being appointed. And I don't want to see any good Kenyan who has the capacity to serve being denied an opportunity because he's the relative of a person who knows the president, who knows somebody. That cannot be the criteria for shutting people out of public office.
So is the alternative to just agitate for change? To Latif's point, it's how do we save ourselves? And you're saying we can't afford to say, this is just a gone case, we're going to leave people to figure this out. You're saying that it's up to us to push for what we need?
Absolutely. And you are doing it here. You don't take for granted and what is being done through various media. We are awakening the spirit of the nation, that we cannot allow the politicians who themselves are players to determine who the referee is going to be. And in any event, if you look at our constitution so very keenly, you will discover that the result of any election is determined at the polling station. This thing that we do every 5 years at the Bomas of Kenya has no constitutional basis. If we were to have that done, and you look at other countries which have done it very well in Africa, Botswana. Look at Namibia.
How do they do it?
Because they have trust. You'll say they are smaller nations, almost mono-ethnic, but that is not an argument. It means that the spirit of integrity is upheld. The politicians are beholden to the legal system. In Kenya, unfortunately, we have bred a crop of politicians in this country who actually believe they're above the law. They believe you cannot arrest them, you cannot question them, because if you dare, their entire communities will come and make the country ungovernable. It is unfortunate that we have allowed ourselves to create such a crop of politicians who think, as I've said before, larger than life, almost as large as death.
Do you